Hey, it's time for Singles Only Podcast. Yep, you heard me right. No Why Are You Awake this week. I'm reissuing old episodes. This week I brought back episode 342, which was the return of comedian Lisa Curry. Make sure you follow her and check out her new special, Emotionally Edging. She was actually one of the first guests on Singles Only back in when I started, episode 13. So I might put that one up as well. Gosh, that's probably like 10 years old now, or at least 9 years old. I have a couple episodes of Are You Awake that I've got to edit. And then also I haven't had time to meet with comedians to record episodes because I've been on the road. Speaking of being on the road, I'm going to be on the road again this week. I'm in Florida, Sarasota, Miami, and Naples. I'm opening for Chris Frangiola. All those shows. He's one of my favorite comedians. I'm excited to do that. Then I go to Laugh Camp in St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota, October 31st, Halloween, and November 1st. So if you're out in St. Paul or you missed me when I was out in Minneapolis, now's your chance. I'll be at Comedy Vault for Gen X Comedy, or Gen X-ish, with Kristen Toomey and Jeannie Dugan, two of my favorite comedians and humans, on Sunday, November 9th in Batavia. I'll be at Brad Garrett's in Las Vegas at the MGM from November 17th through the 22nd. Then I'll be in Lake Villa at Fairmount Grounds on November 11th, Veterans Day, with some of my favorite comedians. It's been a fun show. If you know people in Lake Villa, it's a free show and it's been tremendous. We bring in the best comedians from Chicago there. And I know a lot of people say best Chicagoans, but like literally I'm doing that. You're welcome. I'll be in Lake Geneva on November 14th on Friday. Then I'll be at Stand Up Sit Down on November 24th. We're going to have a show on November 17th too. He'll be a different host. I'm opening for Brett Ernst that weekend, November 15th through the 17th at Comedy Vault in Batavia. And then I'll be at Comedy Cave in Calgary, December 16th through the 20th. First time headlining a week in Canada. I'm excited for that. I have my pin for Canada. I'm not wearing it right now, but I will wear it proudly in Canada. Speaking of pins, if you subscribe to the podcast and give us a review, I'll give you one of these free Why Are You Awake pins. They're super cool logo. You got to admit, that's one of the coolest logos out there for a podcast. No? Okay. Whatever. If you want to follow me on other things, I've got a Substack now where I talk about my comedy life, comedy career, and questions that people have been asking me. Also, I'm on Facebook. I have a new Facebook page, as well as TikTok, and of course Instagram, which is the best place for me. If you don't follow me there, you're a jerk. Follow me there. Follow Lisa Curry, and check out our sponsors. Hey, gang. As some of you know, I used to be a practicing lawyer in Chicago. I no longer practice, but from time to time, I need a lawyer. And when I need a lawyer, I call my friend Scott Shapiro. Scott Shapiro has been practicing law for over 25 years in Chicago. He does it all, from workers' compensation to personal injury, employment issues, and even entertainment law and contract needs. If you need a lawyer, call my friend Scott. 312-648-8800. That's 312-648-8800. Or you can email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. Tell him I sent you. You're welcome. Hey, it's time for another edition of Singles Only Podcast. Paul Farahvar here. No voice of reason on this episode because we are doing this on the road. We have a special guest tonight. From the first season, episode 13, all the way from Los Angeles, comedian Lisa Curry.
Hey, how are you?
How are you, Lisa? We're here at your studio. We'll just call it your studio so people know. You were on the first episode. Okay. You were one of the very first guests, so I was so thankful that you did it back then 6 years ago.
God, that was forever.
Insane. We did it. I think we did it at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, we did.
That's where
in
it was.
Chicago.
I don't remember who the voice of reason was. I think it might have been Jeannie Dugan, or maybe it was before I even had a voice of reason. How are you? I'm
great. Thank
Crushing
you.
it. You have a show on radio, on satellite that's doing well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. This is my third year at Sirius XM. And as of now, my contract is through the end of June, but we'll see what happens then. I really like being on the network. It's fun when I go to New York, I'm able to record in studio. So that's
awesome.
It still, after all this time, it feels really exciting. I'm like, ooh, look at this. I have a producer. I'm at Sirius XM.
I love radio. I used to do radio too at night, and it was like when you stop doing it, you realize how much you miss it. It's just so fun. I've always loved radio, and you're doing it on such a bigger level. It's like a dream, something that I always want to do. But we're not here to talk about that. We're checking back in on you. This is the best of series. We have our best guests come back. 6 years later, are you single now? Ish.
Yeah, technically.
Okay.
I think officially there hasn't been I've been seeing somebody, but there hasn't been a conversation about what's going on.
Okay.
And I don't like doing that. I don't like initiating that. So
it's a hard conversation.
We'll see.
When we had you on 6 years ago, you said that one of the things that we're quoted as saying is, "I'm not afraid of dying alone," is what you said. And you kind of embraced being single like we do on this podcast. That is so
Lisa Curry in 2010. I don't look. I'm still not. I mean, like, my ideal life is living in like a little, maybe like 2-bed, 1-bath, maybe 2-bath for a guest, 2-bed, 2-bath little cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere on a lake with my dog and like a canoe.
Okay.
Like,
why a canoe?
Just a relaxing. I love it. I grew up on a lake.
Okay.
And I grew up like canoeing around the lake, and it's
lakes
just
in Indiana?
really relaxing. Yeah.
Okay. Were they more like creeks, maybe?
No, there's a lot of lakes in Indiana.
Okay.
But I grew up on a lake like an hour out of Chicago. I mean, that said, I'm at a place in my life now where I'm like, oh, I would like a partner, because it's like nice to. I have a lot of fun being single, because you can just go wherever and fuck off, and you don't really have to consider another person. You also get invited to more stuff when you're single, because it's really easy for people to bring. Like, if there's some kind of party or premiere or whatever, it's pretty easy to add one person to the mix and get one extra ticket, especially when you're a woman. But if you're like, hey, can me and my partner get tickets, then it's like, oh, that's really hard to do. It's hard for somebody to bring a +2, you know?
But you also miss out on a lot of stuff. People will say, when you're single, you don't get invited to your friends. Like, they all go out as couples, right? And they're always like,
yeah, I don't care about that.
We didn't think you'd want to come, which is true. Yeah. Like, I usually am like, oh yeah, don't invite me to your son's 6th birthday. I'm not going to go.
Some of it, like, I guess I do miss out on parts of that. But there's not a lot of my friends that are coupled up, I don't love their partner. So I'm like, I don't necessarily want to sit through a dinner with your stupid boyfriend anyway.
Right.
You know?
It's a win-win.
Yeah. I mean, but that said, I'm like, oh, I have been in my entire life, like, I'm approaching 40, and I'm like, oh, I've only had a +1 to a wedding once in my life,
right.
You know, because it was like my first boyfriend when I was 23, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that kind of isn't fun anymore. I mean, I still have fun at weddings, but I'm like, oh, I would like to share that with somebody, or I would like to like go on a trip with somebody, right. You know,
or have a buffer at those types of things where it's like, okay,
yeah,
if you see me talking to Daryl, you have to come and save me or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like signs. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good thing.
So in that way, I'm like, oh, I would like to. I mean, at least want to give it a shot, I guess. I mean, I've been in a couple of relationships since we last spoke, but it was like actually one like relationship.
Long one, over a year, you mean?
Yeah, and it's really tough because, I mean, I am so driven in my career, and it's really attractive to me for someone else to be really driven in their career. But a lot of times that looks like us not having a life together, and it's like, okay, well, if you see somebody like here, which is my situation right now, where I love this person, but I'm like, well, I only see them once a week or once every couple of weeks. And that's not really, it feels like a friends with benefits. It doesn't feel like you can't build a life together with somebody with that, you know, it's tough.
Well, you can build a life with that person in your life and having a significant relationship, but yes, you're not together. But that's this is the world we live in now. If you have two people who are driven and are independent, they have their shit going on, it's hard to align in any situation, even a marriage, for example. Like people, marriages lasted so long and was such a big part of society when you're younger because women were basically property.
Yeah,
and now,
exactly.
For better or for worse, they have rights.
To men being property.
Right. Right. But I'm saying, like, how is, like, people always say that that's good, that they want their own shit happening, and women like guys who are driven, and women are driven, and guys like that too. But how does that mesh when you're both prioritizing something other than the other person?
Well, that, and it's also like, it feels like the only way for, or the best way, I should say, who knows, the best way for a relationship where two people's time is really taken up, the best way for them to build a life together would be to live together. But then it's like, well, if you only see each other once every 10 days, you have nothing to, you're not experiencing day to day together. You're not experiencing the same level of like frustration that you do just when you're around somebody all the time. So you're not able to assess whether, you would be a good match for living together. Right. It's really tough to know because it's like, well, you only see each other every couple of weeks. It's going to be like a date night. It's going to feel like you're casually dating, And
if you're living together and you're not seeing each other, then I think that creates more problems, right? Because the little things that drive you bonkers about the other person, or if you're neat and they're not, that's why maybe it is better to have like a relationship or a situationship where it's far, you are far apart and you continue to live that honeymoon period.
Yeah. But then you don't make it to the next step because after a honeymoon is a life together, know?
What is that even? Why do people always say that? What do you mean the next step?
Well, I guess for me, it's more like just stuff like, like building a home together. I'm desperate to buy. Please, somebody send me money so I can buy a house.
Where you can buy this place with a canoe and everything. What if they don't want that? What if they don't want that?
Well, then it's really not going to work.
Is that the deal breaker? If they don't like fucking water.
I mean, that's like something. If they don't like being on the water, that is a deal breaker because that is my favorite place in the world. Being
on water.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. Why
don't you do the cruise ship comedy stuff?
Oh God, no! Fuck, I can't. I wouldn't. God bless you all, but I would not want to be on a cruise because I don't want to be around people that like to be on cruises like that. I'm like, I like to like travel and go immerse myself in culture and locals and stuff, and I'm like, the idea of like eating at a buffet and seeing a bunch of assholes in like flip-flops and backwards hats. I can't. I'm like, it makes me want to crawl out of my skin.
David Foster Wallace had a piece about something I'll never do again, where he goes on a cruise and just analyzes everyone on the cruise. It's the greatest thing in the world. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But, so being on water is a deal breaker for you.
A huge deal breaker. Like if somebody's
That's
unwilling,
hilarious.
if they're like afraid of the water, but they're unwilling to go out, I can't. What are you talking about, man?
Like what if they're, they don't like to be on water because they get seasick?
I don't know.
They can do water for 30 minutes. That's a deal breaker. That's hilarious.
Otherwise, it's like you're going to miss out on. I mean, look, I'm not.
What if they
on the
like
water.
Swimming but not boating? Was that water adjacent?
That's not enough. Here's the thing.
That's such a fucking weird little thing, but okay.
To me, that would be the same if somebody was like, I don't like dogs. I never want a dog. I'd be like, okay, bye. Like this won't work.
That's more accepted in society, I think.
Yeah. Well,
boats is not the level of dog must love dogs.
I grew up on a lake and like we always had a canoe, like regardless of how much money we had, because a canoe is like $6 or whatever.
Sure.
But my parents for a long while owned a marina. So like I've been driving boats since I was 9 years old and like working on them with my dad and going out. And I'm like, look, I'm not in a place financially where I can just throw money at being on a boat all the time. Otherwise, like the second I have more money, that's exactly what I'm doing.
How often do you go? You're on a coast right now. How often do you go on water now?
Maybe like a couple times a year, which
Okay,
is sad.
so
it's not much right now, but that is what I'm working
next
towards
step.
being.
That's the next step.
Being on boats more.
The person that you get into a situationship with or a relationship now, the next step requires boating at a certain amount per month, like a per cap.
I mean, like you don't have to come with me
6
every
times.
time, but if you're like you have a strong aversion to it, then
Okay.
if it doesn't have to be your favorite thing, I would
Sure.
like that. But if you're straight up like, nah, not for me. I mean, you may as
Maybe
well
it
tell
can
me
be
you don't
some-
know how to do math to
Well,
me.
let me ask you this. What if it's something that they appreciate you enjoy, but they don't want to be a part of it? Just like, let's say
Nah.
they're really into like watching soccer and you hate soccer.
I
Like
watch a little bit of soccer.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
you can be a passive member. Like he can be on the boat with you, but he's not enjoying
Yeah.
it. He's probably going to be like,
Not a deal breaker necessarily, but
That's
I generally try to avoid men that are into football and into gaming because I have watched friends just lose their partner to get sucked into gaming, and also like my family. I'm the only girl in my family. They love football. They love it so much. First of all, I hate it. I think the NFL is trash. I think it should be burned down. I mean, the NFL as an organization is absolute garbage. But also, like growing
shout out
up
to
in
our
my
sponsor,
family,
NFL. Yeah.
yeah, like growing up in my family, during football season, football came before everything. It came before our family, or like and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that again.
Okay.
I don't give two shits about the Chargers or the fucking Green Bay Packers or what. That's my family's
Those are the
team
two
is the
teams, you know.
Packers.
Okay.
And Chargers are just out here. But I'm like, I could care less. And like, if several hours of our weekend has to revolve around football, I mean, I'd rather just put my head in the oven.
Okay, so we're getting more deal breakers. I like this. Okay, going back to the conversation where you get to a level where you are to the next step, and the next step requires obviously building a life together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see that? How does that manifest itself other than them going on boats with you and being your plus one at weddings and shit like that? Like, what is it that you think that whatever relationship you've had recently, you haven't gotten to that next level? What is it that you are, what do you think that you miss or you're missing?
Traveling together. Although I love to travel alone, so I don't want somebody with me on every trip. But like,
Well, but here's the flip side of that. If you are on the next level, you also have to be on the same level where if you say, oh, well, I don't want you to come with me to Brooklyn, they're going to feel like, wait, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's so hard to find someone.
They might. I mean, like, to me, that feel like I'm so independent. If somebody was, what's that called? Codependent. I couldn't deal with that. And there's things like, I mean, I bumped into some issues with my, with an ex of mine, with a recent ex of mine, because he could not really understand that, like, okay, if I'm going to New York, it's for comedy stuff.
Right.
And like, you can come with me, but we're running around and doing and I'm working I consider it also like, even when I'm just hanging out with my peers, I'm like, well, this is work. It's not work. And I don't mean that in like, it's laborious. I mean that it's
part of the job.
It's part of the job. I'm not here to get hammered. I'm not here to party. I'm having a good time, and I might have a drink or two, but I'm staying conscious and staying focused because I'm also building relationships.
Right.
You're
being part of the scene, whether not in a social setting so much as like, okay, being relevant.
Yeah.
Oh, Lisa was out, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
Yeah.
But 100%. A lot of people don't understand that.
They don't understand
that. You just
that.
went to the bar to fucking hang out. I'm like, no, I had to go.
Well, that, or I couldn't be with somebody that would be insecure if like we're sitting at a table cutting it up with some comics and I get up and walk over to talk to another group for a minute. It's like, if you can't hang with my friends, then this can't work.
Right.
You know?
But going to your trip in New York, like you're working when you're doing shows in New York, or anyone's going to New York, you're going from like you're doing 2 or 3 shows a night sometimes. You're going back and forth, and then you have to make connections with people there, obviously too, because you're looking for guests for your show, whatever. Why would someone, you're not going to experience New York like the way that people are like, oh, I want to go check out New York, or I want to do the things in New York.
Yeah. And
So
to that I say, go off on your own.
Right.
You want to see Times Square, you are fully on your own.
But isn't that more of a stressor for you? Like, for example, I have people that I've been dating like, oh, I'll just come out and meet you when you're out in LA. I'm like, ooh, see, I'm going to be like running around, and I'm going to feel bad that I haven't seen you or checked in with you. You know what I mean?
I don't feel bad because I feel like that's, I've learned to not try to manage other people's feelings. Like if you want to be mad at me because I don't have time, then that's your business. I can't make it my business. And I guess like I have a handful of friends that I've traveled with that really are good at that. Like we'll check in, we'll do some stuff together, and then they'll do their own thing. If I'm doing something, friends. Yeah. And I'm looking for that in a partner where you're able to, without anybody having hurt feelings. It's like, oh, you want to go do that thing and I'm not interested, then go do your thing.
Right.
And like not, I'm not interested, because it's like, obviously there is a level of I'm not interested where it's just like, well, just go do it. Like, I don't care to find, the best beer in Germany. I'm making up a wild scenario, but like if we're traveling, we're in Berlin,
I heard
and
about
you're
this
like
coffee at this place. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'll join you. But if you're doing something that like takes all day and I don't know if you want to go to a football game.
But do you even need that person there is what I'm saying. Like you're an independent person.
Yeah.
I know you well enough to know that.
Yeah.
Like, and you talk about getting to the next step in a relationship. Why do you, other than societal norms making that what you need to do, why does it have to go to that level? Why can't you just stay at the honeymoon level? And then
because there's not depth to that. Okay. It's really surface. I mean, it's like seeing a friend that you catch up with. It's like the difference between like just a friendship where you see the person all the time, and a friendship where like, an old friend where like you quote unquote pick up where you left off a while ago. It's like, well, that's nice, but it doesn't you're not getting
the day-to-day.
You're not cooking meals together. You're not really experiencing it. You're not like, well, you're not able to like really, you can like confide in each other and talk each other through things, or kind of guide each other through whatever issues the other one is dealing with, like work or friends or family or whatever. But you lose a lot of the connective tissue.
Sure.
Not being together much.
When so when you were in that relationship that you had, what was it that made you realize, or how did it end? What was it the thing that you're like, okay, I'm not.
Oh boy, it ended. It was. It really.
Did you get to that next level and then we're like, oh, it's not going to work, or what
kind of. I mean, we did get to a level where. No, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Well,
because
what did you learn
we only saw each other once a week for over a year, and it's like, yeah, we might make a meal together, but we're not. There was so much of our lives that was just like casual texting. Like you would text with a friend, like, oh, how was your day? Good. How was your day? Okay, well, fantastic. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And it's like, that's not. I mean, that was a relationship where like I was in a wedding and went to another wedding, and he was not able to join me, and it was like, well, this
you
sucks.
wanted him there.
Yeah. And I'm like, especially, I love weddings. They're so fun. And I'm like, I want to bring somebody in for that fun. And it's like, when you're going to all these events, like I'm at a place in my career where I am getting on guest lists for things or tickets to things. And I'm like, I am allowed a +1. And it's like, I'm happy to bring friends. That's fun. but it's also like, God, it would be so much more fun with a partner. And if I'm being completely transparent, I'm like, I'm in the entertainment industry. I would like to be with somebody else that's in the entertainment industry. And like, we can help one another. Like we go out and
be a power duo.
Yeah. And it's like, maybe, I mean, I would not want to date another comedian, although I do have a huge crush on Eric Andre. Listen, I would break my rule.
Isn't he dating some celebrity now?
Yeah, he's dating some model. And you know what? I hope she falls down a flight of stairs and breaks her head off.
Okay. If that happens now, people are going to come back and cancel you.
I mean, like, ideally, I would date somebody that's in entertainment and we have, so they because it just does not work with somebody that's not in entertainment. I've tried. They don't get it. And it's that, God, that makes it so tough. But like, ideally, they're in entertainment and I am. And like, look, people might think this sounds gross to say, but like, okay, I bring you to an event and you do something different than me, so you're not in competition with me, and there's people there where like you can make contacts there and it helps grow your career, and then I go to a thing with you and it helps grow my career, and we become basically Beyonce and Jay-Z
of the comedy. Well, that's what I've always told people. I'm like, don't date other comedians, you can date comedy adjacent or musicians, is what I always push. And I think we talked about dating musicians 6 years ago, and we were like, oh, that's a good balance. And have you done that since?
I have, and it didn't work out the way I had hoped.
Well, you're not gonna go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it left a really bad taste in my mouth where I'm like, I don't know if I would date another musician.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, listen, would I realistically? Yeah.
Maybe it was a style of music. Maybe
it's not something I'm seeking out, you know?
What if it was like a different genre of music? Maybe it was just that.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it would be a better genre of music.
It was a bad genre.
I would. It's fine.
Heavy metal. Okay. Ska, perhaps, might be a little more understanding.
No, thank you. I don't. If you're fucking with a tuba, I don't have time for that. Like singer-songwriter. I mean, bassist, look, I would date a rapper in a second.
Fair. You talked about marriage, a lot of going to weddings and how fun those are. Do you want to get married yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's not like, but because I think that is part of building a life together with somebody, but also, and it's also like, I don't know, as you get older, it feels kind of corny to say boyfriend.
Okay.
You know, I mean, like partner is a better word, just because like not for any like gender neutral reasons. For me, it's more like boyfriend just sounds juvenile after a while.
Sure.
You
can say
like if my parents split up and my mom was like, I have a boyfriend, I'd be like, ew, are you a teenager? You know? But then it comes around again, because if you're like, you know, in your 80s and you're a widow and you're like, my boyfriend, then it sounds cute. So maybe I'll just get to there.
Okay. You can say partner and not get married. That's my part. Although it sounds like a law firm.
Well, I think for me, it does. And I think for me, the idea of somebody marrying you is like a commitment promise. And I'm like, I would like that, because I'm very monogamous. I mean, I have a million crushes all the time, but I'm very monogamous. And I'm like, the thought of somebody being like, I guess marriage solidifies that promise in a way that, I'm not saying married people suddenly stop cheating if they were cheating before, but it's like, it's this other, like an official, like, no, for real, I'm committing to you, you know?
Sure.
And not just like, oh, we had a conversation over chicken nuggets and it's all sorted, you know? Okay.
So you want to get married. You won't. Okay. Let's talk about there's so many deal breakers and lessons learned here. Obviously, you're not going to date another comedian unless it's Eric Andre. Can't date musicians. but rappers are okay.
If you could just send this to him.
No football fans, no gamers.
Please, no.
I understand all these things.
Look, and those things aren't like deal breakers, but it's something that I, again, just not seeking
What
it
if
out.
what if they are an athlete? What if they are a football player?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that's fine. What if there are on the Chargers and the Rams?
I will date almost any rugby player
Offensive
while we're
lineman.
talking about this.
Okay. Because then they have the drive. They understand that, especially in LA.
And they have the CTE where I'm going to maintain myself as the smarter person in the relationship. So I get
You have to be the
crown.
smarter person?
No. You know what? I used to have a bit where probably around when I did the first episode where I was like, I want somebody to dominate me physically, which I still do. But I want to dominate them intellectually. And I'm like, and then I dated somebody who was dumb as rocks. And I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah. As you get older, you can't put up with it.
No. And I would like somebody that's like somewhat engaged in the news, knows what's going on in the world. Because I mean, like I'm a news junkie, and that is my own addiction problem.
Sure.
But I'm like, I need you to have just like a cursory knowledge
Of what's going on.
of where we're at.
100%. I
You
agree
know,
with
like
that.
this is somebody who like doesn't vote and isn't engaged in any way. I'm like, I gotta tap out.
What if they have a different political outlook than you? Okay.
No. If you're a conservative, I can't.
Well, here's what's funny, and that's been a running thing on this podcast where people say that. But in a prior decade, my parents are on the opposite sides of the spectrum.
Mine are too.
They're together for 50 years, for better or for worse. 5 of those years were good. But my point is that like that wasn't such a deal breaker back then. It was good to have different outlooks. I know obviously now with certain things that have happened in the world, people are fucking going to be anti. I mean, look, I go to states in red states and like I'm on the dating apps. Or do you use the dating app still or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because when I'm out in the world, almost all that I meet are comedians. And I'm like, if truly my goal is to, listen, when I was on the apps recently, before I started getting into whatever I'm in, Eric Andre was on there and I immediately swiped right and never matched with him. Yeah. So whatever you're doing, Eric, kidding. This whole podcast is just like a plea.
Right. That's why you agreed to do it.
He's probably,
I'll just tag him in it and see if he'll
I mean,
listen.
he's legit famous. He's probably not interested in dating a comedian.
A new comedian. Newer comedian.
Look, I'm not going to ask you for spots. I do want to be on the Eric Andre show. So
yeah, right.
Listen, I'm making jokes here. You
should act like you're like a new comedian because then it might work. You could be like, groom me. I don't know.
I don't think he does that. Yeah. No, I do.
But like what I was saying about the political thing, you go to these red states and there are people that are like, I'm like, because I used to be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But then you talk to some of them, and you're like, okay, you're not like. You weren't at the Capitol. It's like, okay, maybe I can
I think it may be harder for a woman because I'm like, oh, if you're conservative, you believe fundamentally that I don't deserve rights.
Right.
And
you think you do deserve rights.
I like to think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
This thing's over.
But I'm like, ew, if you don't think women should have access to abortion, even like if you're liberal in every way, and then you think, but I am pro-life. I can't because I think that you're, I can't compartmentalize that because I think you're a fucking idiot and I think you are a demon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you demonize them. It's funny because now I'm watching this show on TV called The West Wing. Have you heard of this?
I've unfortunately seen a couple episodes. I not a fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think it's a great show in the world. I didn't watch it when it was out in the 2000s or whatever, but I watch it like it was on. I was stuck in like Grand Rapids or something, and it was on a marathon on Headline News because I watch the news when I go to bed. I was like, oh, I'll watch this, and I got sucked into like 6 a.m. And now I watch it without the commercials. It's a great show, and they talk about like the political like people that are on the opposite side of the spectrum, and how they like try to have discussions and whatnot. But
my parents are opposite ends politically. I think my mom is the conservative one, and she started as a liberal, and then Fox News ate her brain. Fox News and like way more so than that, because we weren't watching like Fox News at home really. But way more so than that was conservative talk radio and like Rush Limbaugh and shit. And I'm like, I think there should be a national holiday to celebrate his death because fuck him.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing, right? Like all these media, especially Fox News, like they just take over our parents.
Yeah. And tell them like, look, if you're conservative because you've come to that conclusion through legitimate information, fine. But like when I was I still don't prefer that, but when I was in New York this past weekend with one of my best friends, and her mom was like, you're going to New York, people are pushing people in front of trains and people are getting stabbed on the street, and I'm like, none of that is happening. This is Fox News eating her brain. And it's like, God bless. The
first thing that people come up to me on the road, I travel a lot for comedy, and the first thing people talk to me about when I say I'm from Chicago is, what do you think of your mayor? Like, because Lori Lightfoot is like the demon. They don't have Nancy Pelosi anymore, so they push her on the front. Yeah. But on the other side of that too, like they do a good job on Fox News of hiding things. Like people don't know what happened on January 6th. Like I talked to someone, they're like, oh, I thought it was Antifa. I'm like, wait, what? No. So there is something to be said to that in terms of people not paying attention to what's going on. That's being important.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Fox News is just straight up propaganda and like shock jocks. And I will say also
MSNBC is too.
Yeah, exactly. MSNBC. Like, and I think the clearest example I have of that was because I get all of my news because I'm a hero. All of my news comes from like NPR, BBC, like C-SPAN. Just that's what I'm not even actually less so NPR because I'm not listening to the radio in the car, but it's like PBS is where I get most of my news, which is super dry.
Just get the info. I always tell people if they're like, oh, I think it's all bullshit. I'm like, just go read the court transcripts. If something's in the news, you can actually hear the transcripts.
And it's like, I got into an argument with my mom.
We're nothing if we're not accurate.
I got into an argument with my mom over a recent-ish Supreme Court ruling. And my mom was like, that's not true. That's not how it happened. And I'm like, yes, it is. It is really detrimental. And she was like, read it. And because she's not going to read it. And so I was like, okay. So I read the entire summary and the dissenting opinion. And I was like, okay, I read it. And here's exactly what it said. And my mom was like, oh God, I didn't realize it was that bad. I'm like, why would you realize? Because you are listening to conservative talk radio that is presenting it differently. And you are not getting the distilled information.
And they do it. And to be fair, they do it on MSNBC too, where they'll say something like, oh, this is what the court ruling. They just proved that the case against Donald Trump for the rape thing. They're like, oh, the lady just won. I'm like, no, she didn't. She just won a motion. She overcame a motion to dismiss.
Well, and you as a lawyer,
I'm just like, it's two fucking different things. But anyway, we digress a little bit. Let me ask you this. We talked about...
I get really worked up.
Yeah, like we talk about the politics of everything. What are other than Eric Andre, are there other people that you can be like, okay, this is where I can build a life? What are the things that are... We talked about the deal breakers. What are the accolades? They need to be in the entertainment business, obviously, to understand.
I would really strongly prefer that, but as you said, I am open to rugby players, baseball players,
professional sports,
NBA players. I would date almost anyone in the NBA.
Okay. Baseball. They're away 162 days of the year, plus spring training.
Yeah, I mean they need to be kind and they have to like dogs and just like.
And boats.
Yeah, and boats. And be reasonably intelligent. And a big thing for me is like, you can't be a big drinker. Like, I mean, I was dating somebody recently that was
Midwest,
like,
that's hard not to do.
Like every third day we talked, he'd be like, oh, I'm fucking wrecked from last night. And I'm like, ew, that is so unappealing. It's also like, I have a lot of alcoholics in my family. I don't want to watch somebody rapidly deteriorate because they are partying all the time.
It's such a big part of the Midwest, especially the amount of drinking that we do, that it's funny now, like when you go on dates, like because I don't drink anymore really, maybe once every 3 months, but
I'm drunk right now.
When I go on dates, like people are like, I'm like, hey, I can go meet at 9:30 after a show for dinner or whatever, if that's okay, but I'm not going to be drinking. And it's like, oh, wait, you're not going to have one drink? I'm like, no. And also, if you've already been drinking before we meet, probably let's meet when you're sober. And that's like, everyone freaks the fuck out.
It's such a weird trigger for people.
Yeah. I'm like, I think when you first meet someone, you shouldn't be fucked up. That's not too much to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, drinking is such a big part of the Midwest. I think a lot of people think like that. What if they own a boat? Wouldn't that be?
That's even better. If you own a boat, get at me.
That should be like automatically.
Literally any kind of boat. Fishing boat, I don't care.
What if it's a paddle boat?
Okay. I mean, we got to start somewhere.
Everyone had paddle boats. Where I grew up on a creek, and everyone had paddle boats or canoes. But paddle boats were like the thing in the 90s. What about like physical types? Do you have a type? If we lined up all the dudes that you dated,
you would be like, do you even have opinions on what somebody looks like? Because
they're all over the place.
All over the place. I mean, look, obviously, like maybe not obviously. It's like, of course, I want somebody that's like fit and muscular. You know, going to throw me around a little bit, but I'm making concessions. I don't, as long as you're active. I don't really give too much of a shit about the rest as long as you're active, because I really am. And I'm like, I'm not going to be eating healthy and maintaining my body for somebody that's just laying on the couch all day. Like, no, I got abs. You figure it out.
They've got to at least have 2 abs.
It's just like, at least like, if you like to hike or go on walks or do literally anything. Yeah, I don't really have much of a preference. Like if you're in a rec league playing basketball, okay, good. You're doing something.
Sure, that counts. Okay, I think we got enough here to figure out what's going to happen, Lisa. Sorry, we went a little over
DMs.
time.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
it's all good.
You're going to get some DMs for sure. So it's be like, send pictures of the fucking boat if you're going to send
By the
something.
way, I've said this on podcasts before, like I love boats, whatever. And I will have people reach out and they're like, if you're ever in whatever city, I'll take you on my boat. And I'm like, yes, I will take you up on that.
That's the worst fucking idea. You can go on into the lake with a stranger, Lisa. Come on.
I can defend myself.
Not if they just throw you over. Like, what are you talking about?
I was a lifeguard for a year. I was on the swim team. I got it. You throw me over.
You were a lifeguard in Indiana?
Yeah, on a lake that was the size of a large puddle.
Okay. They take you on a yacht. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. That's like the one thing you shouldn't do is go into a lake with a stranger.
I'm playing it fast and loose here.
Godspeed. Lisa, where can people find out more about you and your show and follow your career and also DM you?
Yeah. You know what? Everything is on Instagram. I do check my DMs. I pretend I don't. If you're a weirdo, I'm like, ooh, never check my DMs. But I'm on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry, because there is an Olympic swimmer named Lisa Curry, and she took our name, so I took Olympian.
No, that's funny. You told us that story the first time. I love it.
I love it.
Okay, well, thank you, Lisa, for doing the episode again. We'll check in another 6 years.
Thank you so much.
If this show is still happening in 6 years, I'm still single and be like, oh, I should fucking go on a boat.
You've been single this entire time?
I mean, single
for the podcast.
I said that's how I get out of the relationship. Like, I can't go to the next step because I have this podcast.
And they're like, oh, is it making you millions? And you're like, nah.
So the sponsors I get are ridiculous. We got the NFL, we got gamers, yacht companies. No. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you again for listening to another edition of Singles Only Podcast. I'm still standing. Got my feet stuck in this ground. You ain't nothing about to stop me.